You ready?
I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Daily Carry Podcast, episode 52 today. And we're excited to continue the conversation. Today we're going to be talking about Victor Marx and the fight for Colorado.
Amen.
And we're really excited because since last episode, man, there's been a lot that's happened. And we have a lot to catch everyone up out there. If you are not in the know of what's been going on here at the Rock Jiu-Jitsu team, at Oodalali Coffee, at the Daily Carry. Last episode we had Tatiana Gaidar on, and hopefully we're going to have Taryn Butler on at some
From
point.
Taryn Tactical?
Yeah. And then also supposed to have Victor Marx on at some point here in the near future. So that'll be cool. We got a whole nother lineup of guests that we're also expecting to have on, so that'll be cool. But JWI4 was awesome.
It was.
It was an absolutely spectacular event. I don't think that we've had one so far, except for this one, that when we're in the middle of it and we're grooving, it just felt like it felt smooth.
That thing was on. It really was. It was from the guys showing up and doing the role play with Tatiana for her upcoming movie tryout. She wanted to get some action stuff in. You did stuff with a dog with her. I didn't even know you did that.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
Yeah.
But the guys showing up, all of JWI4 was awesome, and then having Victor come in house, do a gun strip on me was super cool.
Yeah.
I can now check that off my bucket list. I love that he said, "I'm going to slow this down so everybody can see it." And it was still liquid quick, but and then just the event overall was just great. It was a lot of great matches. It was a lot of fun matches too. So we could go all day on JWI4. We got a lot of stuff to talk about with Victor and other things that are happening in the world. But the two things that I thought that brought a different feel and just a crowd roar was the big man when he went 1-on-2.
Yep.
What's he roll? 6'5", 340?
He is definitely 300 plus. He is close to 6'5", if not more.
He is
he's a big guy.
Big guy. And
Kyle Ferreter.
Shout
out.
The
Goon.
The Kyle.
Kyle That's his nickname, the Goon.
He was epic. and then just the what did we call it? The four dudes that got in there.
Yeah, we did a 4v4. Well, it wasn't a 4v4. It was a 4-man free-for-all. That's what we called it. A 4-man free-for-all, everyone for himself, last man standing. That's what we
last
called
man
it.
standing. That's it.
Last man standing.
That was fun.
That was wild, man.
Yeah.
Those guys got in there, and it was just a load of fun. It was such a cool event. And what happened with Kyle is that his opponent got stranded in Texas. He was on his way here. His transmission broke down. His truck broke down. He wasn't able to make it. And so two guys that were on the card already were like, we'll fight Kyle, but 2-on-1.
That was super
and that's
cool.
what they agreed to do. And it was just a fun match, man. It was cool. I mean, they double armbarred Kyle. It was quite a scene there at the end, but it was fun. It was different, you know. It was cool for all of them to be willing to do that and go out and just have some fun, put jiu-jitsu on display in a fun way. That's what the event's all about, man.
Yeah.
And all the guys, all the matches, we all did that without a hitch. Everybody had so much fun, good matches, good camaraderie, good sportsmanship, which is what it's all about. But then to have the icing on the cake, so to speak, with Victor Marx being able to take the floor for a while, share his heart, talk about why he's running for governor in Colorado, but then also do his thing, which is a disarm. And he does it on you, and he does it. He says slow. He wasn't going to do it slow. He was never going to do it slow. And he just strips that thing away, and if you blink, you miss it, man. That was so cool. And what's so cool about Victor Marx coming through, he came through with a good group of guys and gals that was with him in his party, and they were just going to come for like 30 minutes and head to something else. Yeah. They were going to come and just hang out for a little bit with us and then get going. But they got here and they started watching the matches and they got locked in.
Yeah.
And Victor's like, "Oh no, you guys are taking a group picture after? I'm gonna be in that picture." Like he said, "I'm hanging out. I want to watch the rest of this." So it was really cool to see that they all came and enjoyed the show that we were putting on at JWI4.
Yeah.
That to me is like the coolest thing. That's so cool.
I was down on the floor looking up at the mezzanine, and there were a lot of people that were talking to him. And it was great because he had some opportunity to do some FaceTime, and I'm sure he was telling people why he was running and doing stuff, but he was also turning back around and watching all the matches. And so he was engaged on both sides. And I really appreciated it. That's the fourth time that I've shaken his hand now. And I will say I said it in a video. Somebody asked me, are you supporting him? And I said, yeah, I am. And then I gave a bunch of reasons why. And they said, well, if there's one underlying reason, what is it? And this goes back 30 years for me. So there's a story behind a story, which I'm not going to share, but it's just this simple. There was a man named Fred Riddle, shook my hand once, grabbed a hold of it. And I was a little nervous going into law enforcement. And he says, you squeeze a man's hand. Let me say that all over. You squeeze a man's hand and look him in the eye like you're ready to die for him. You let him know that you're there and that you mean it. And that's how Victor shakes my hand. And that's the fourth time he's done it. And every single time he does it the same way. So I just, that's as simple as a handshake is, it drew me in.
Yeah. I mean, if I was going to give my underlying reason why, it'd be pretty plain and simple. It's because the man walks the walk and talks the talk. Yeah. He is not, he lives what he preaches. There's nothing about him that is all talk. There's nothing about him that is inconsistent. Everything about him is consistent. Been watching him for years. Since I was a teenager, he has been consistent. He's been a man of conviction. He's been a man who doesn't just say he wants to do good, but actually does good. And of course, the faith, his faith, and his how unashamed he is to stand on his faith and to share his faith. It's a no-brainer for me. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's other guys, and there's even other guys that are trying to run for the Republican Party in Colorado that I'm sure are well-intentioned, good guys. But if you look at Victor and you look at his life and you look at his accomplishments, they speak for themselves.
Sure.
And I would much rather see somebody get into office who doesn't have a lifelong career of political achievements and rather just has a lifelong life of humanitarian and Christian achievements. This man has done lots for the good of mankind. War against trafficking. He's done all kinds of things, literally been on the border, snatching victims from their would-be prey, and also snatching up and putting in zip ties predators.
Yeah.
He has actually been there, been on the front lines, been in the fight against the evil that's in this world. And I just think that speaks volumes, man. I'd much rather somebody like that than somebody who's just tried to push policy from sitting somewhere in a political office, So I'm excited for him, and I really do think that out of everybody, I think he has the highest percentage chance to actually be able to win governor in Colorado. I don't know if anybody else does.
Yeah, I don't think they do. And realistically, his launch, and I'm sure it's because we're here in Colorado, so we're seeing a little bit more of it. But the truth of the matter is I've been in and around politics most of my life. I've worked for sheriff's office, which is a political office, bipartisan election. I've seen my share of battleground stuff. I've never seen a launch like this. This guy's on fire. And he's not on fire because he's got a fancy campaign or a catchy slogan, or he's coming out and saying, hey, here's my 4 primary things that I'm going to do for the state. He's talking about faith, God, family, lead first, which is what you're called to do. All this other stuff comes second. And there's so many people that just really need to wake up and understand that. But that's where he's going to lead from. That he's a man of conviction. Everything I've seen from him so far has been nothing but integrity. So, and everything I've seen from the other side has been nothing but just plain bad. So I'm not. I don't have a single gut check yet on anything that even remotely throws a yellow flag up, and I can't come up with a candidate in history where I've not had that. So I feel pretty good about it. It's not just that he came here and supported or, took a gun out of my hand. I mean, as cool as that was, I can take a gun out of his hand too. I think he'd be surprised just how quick we could work off of each other. That has so little to do, even though it's cool, so little to do with the integrity of where he stands behind, yet it totally speaks to a man of action. And so I think it complements. There's so many things that I have found in doing research on him, which I started long ago, but not from a governor standpoint, just him. Because anytime you see people play with guns, you want to know if they're authentic. There's a couple dudes online that are the real deal. Like stuff that they put out there, you watch, and it's just absolutely incredible what they put out. He's like that on the front lines. I mean, what's he been to? 20 countries? Rescuing kids?
Yeah.
Name another human being on the planet that's done that. I'm not saying there's not. I'm just saying name one.
Yeah.
And then name one of value, and then name one of integrity, and name one that's running for governor of Colorado. There's not, period. And people say, well, that's not a qualification. Oh, my gosh. Well, then what is?
Yeah, no, we are blessed that he is even taking his time. He doesn't have to do this. He could live the rest of his life comfortably. He's got a lot of achievements that he could sit on. He could pretty easily be like, I've done enough. And it's amazing because when we went to breakfast with him, he said, my kids don't even want to move back to Colorado.
Yep.
And so him and his wife have a discussion. How can we change Colorado or do we need to move? We either need to change it or we need to move.
Yep.
And they made the decision, run for governor's office, try to take Colorado back, try to make Colorado great, try to make it a state where their kids can feel like they can come back and, not be afraid of the direction that Colorado's heading in, which a lot of people are, man. I just had a conversation with a guy yesterday moving to Texas.
Yeah.
And I told this guy yesterday, I was like, man, I really hope that Victor Marx can win. He's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. The guys moving into Colorado, they're not Republicans.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I agree. But if there's going to be somebody who can do the three things that we've talked about, that Victor has talked about, that people understand he needs to be able to do if he wants to win this thing. He needs to be able to unify the party, and then he needs to be able to energize the independents, and then he needs to be able to raise the proper amount of funding. I think that there is nobody else that could energize the independents like Victor Marx.
Yeah. And that's, I believe, if I was sitting in his war room, that would be my advice. What you just said is you've got to energize the independents, because the one thing that conservatives do very well, which is also what they suck at the same time, is we've siloed ourselves with boomers, baby boomers, and Gen Xers. And rather than uniting, this is what the left does really well. They just bring everybody together because it's all emotion-based. So their whole cause, regardless of what it is, everybody jumps on board with it. And it never, the strategy works every single time because you just have a bunch of people jumping on emotion. But critical thinking people in especially the baby boomer Gen X deal, if you're that 70-year-old, 60-year-old, 50-year-old group and you're conservative-minded, you compete against each other. And it drives me absolutely crazy. If there's one thing that Colorado needs to do, it's just get behind the one candidate and stand in the fight, period. Like, stop getting into policy. Policy directs itself. It's kind of like when Eli was here and we were saying, hey, you talk about whatever you want to talk about. You want to talk about the government shutdown, which was going on while he was here. It's like, no, I don't want to talk about that. The government will open back up. Let's talk about important things. And I think that's, if I'm hearing, and I believe I am, Victor correctly, he's like, look, we have policy. Go on the website. You can read all the policy you want. Let's talk about what we're called to do biblically first. I don't know if you saw it. He and his wife put out a video from their truck the other day. And he said, what's your favorite thing to do in the morning? And he talks about he gets a back rub every morning from her. And then she makes coffee. And then her favorite thing, because it was all a joke, obviously, was that she goes over and she takes quiet time and she just sits down and she reads her Bible and she has her coffee. But it was funny because when he was saying it, I was like, oh, I wake up to a back scratch every morning and I get coffee. And I love the fact that the man comes out and he's saying, hey, I'm running for governor. Hey, by the way, here's how I start my morning with my wife every day. There is authenticity in that. And if people think that there is not, that's not a sales pitch. I've been getting a back scratch every day for 31 years of marriage, and I can tell you it starts my day every single day. My wife is amazing. I married way up. And that's how I feel about him and how he talks about his wife. And I believe they've been married 37 years. I love that a man is willing to come out and be humble and talk about that and say, hey, look, this is our family. This is our reality. This is where we start our day. This is our priority. We'll get to the state stuff. We'll get to the policies. We'll be in the fight. There'll be plenty of fight to come. What's important right now? What do we need to do? What are we called to do? Well, I've got to follow my faith. I got to lead my family. I got to take care of my kids, and I got to take care of the next generation, my grandkids. Outside of that, what else is there? And that's where he's living right now.
It's so cool because his entire speech, I mean, whenever I call it a speech, the guy's just talking.
Yeah.
It's not like he's reading from a teleprompter. It's not like he has any notes in front of him. He's just talking from the heart, man. You can tell. That's how you can tell that he's just genuine.
Yeah.
But whenever he was at breakfast and then whenever he's here at JWI4 and he's talking, he says, I'm going to win because I'm not a politician. That's what he says. And I love that. I love that stance because that's what we need. I'm a part of a couple different forums on Facebook. Of course, there's Coloradans for Victor Marx. If you haven't heard of that one and you guys are on Facebook and you're listening, go to that one, join that one. And then there's a couple other ones. There's Colorado Republicans. There's a lot of people that are up at arms. Like, they don't like the fact that Victor is not political.
Yeah.
They want those answers and those debates on policy.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Why? All that stuff. Why do we want to make it the same exact battles that continue to get us nowhere? They're not helping us. These policies, they're making our lives worse.
Well, that's my point of the boomer Gen X thing. That's exactly what I'm talking about. They keep going back to the same playbook.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to lose. You're going to lose.
Yeah.
And Victor knows you're going to lose if you do that, which is why he said what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said to me the other day, did you see my post that I threw out? I only left it up there for about 15 minutes where I called him out on the Coloradans for Victor Marx.
I didn't see
There was a bunch of people just bashing on the very thing that you're talking about. And so I just came out and I said, okay, how many people are in here running for governor? How many people on here have done? And I just went down this laundry list. I just bullet pointed it. And I put the post up and it was probably, I don't know, it's probably 3 paragraphs, but bulleted points. Is there anybody in here that can check off any one of these? No, there's not. There's not. And you guys keep going back to the same thing. You're going to lose. You're going to lose. Stop attacking. I had like 70 some thumbs up within 30 minutes on a post that was getting 1 thumbs up on other things. And then I took it down and I said, I put a point on to make a statement. I'm not just leaving it up there because I'm going to come out and make a video on it. But I wanted to see the response. And I got the response exactly what I thought I was going to get. It was, I had nobody come back and argue the point, but I had everybody agree with it. And at the end of the day, that is what I believe that we need to be doing. We need to get out in front of this stuff and we need to say, stop. All this attacking, because the first thing I said on the site was, it says Coloradans for Victor Marx. Boy, you would think this is the polar opposite if you read these comments in here. Mm-hmm. And it was. And I just go, what in the world is going on? So it goes back to that. I grew up in this generation. This is how we do it. Oh, I grew up in this generation. This is how we do it. Well, that's not what the left is doing. The left is doing, we're all together.
That breakfast that you and me went to, there was a person who asked a question and asked Victor for his top 3 policies, right? And Victor, he just says, a couple different things. Says that most of them are going to be common sense.
Common sense.
It's a sufficient answer for me. I think that where Victor's coming from, he's got a plan. He's going to have people that he surrounds himself that have knowledge about policies and have knowledge about laws and have knowledge about how we can make Colorado what it needs to be and move away from this direction that we've been heading in that's going to lead us to having no gun rights, having laws in place that are already in place right now that literally can criminalize you just for trying to be a good parent to your kid.
Yep.
It's all very much common sense. So whenever he gives the answer, common sense, that should be enough. But for a lot of these people, like you're talking about, old school, they just want the political rhetoric. Rhetoric. Did I say that right?
Yeah, rhetoric.
And that was in his answer as well. He said, you know what? I could sit here and we could talk about policies, but at the end of the day, if I don't win, it's just a waste of air.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And I like that he's approaching it that way. I really do. I appreciate that and I respect that. I can say that breakfast we went to before Victor was able to get up and start talking and answering questions, man, it really gives you an insight as to why there's a lot of people who don't want to be involved in politics.
That's right.
It's real dry. They're going over meetings. They're giving hand claps to people and they're just talking about budgets and talking about different issues and things and voting for stuff. I get it. You got to do your part. You got to, in a society, you got to carry your weight. We've been given freedoms and we don't want to not show up. We need to show up, but I can see how people have been so exhausted with this same cycle of politics.
Yep.
It's not fun. It's exhausting. And it's honestly, so much of it is just needless and wasteful, and it's just feels like it's impossible.
Yeah.
Hopefully, for somebody like Victor, it's kind of like what we got in Donald Trump and before Donald Trump with Ronald Reagan. Whenever it's pretty cool that you can look up and see that some of the most effective administrations have been people that were not politicians.
Yeah.
They've just been people who had good intentions and they loved their country and they wanted to see if they could help make it better.
Yeah.
That's how I feel Victor Marx is approaching this governor's seat in Colorado. He just wants to help make Colorado a better place. And he wants to do it, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to do it. And I just can't. Who can we look at on either side of the aisle that honestly has that kind of a heart or an approach to this seat in Colorado?
Yeah.
There isn't anybody. And Victor was playing, man. He said, listen, we're going to be getting away from all the nonsense on both sides of the aisle.
Sure.
He called it out plain, and I know that there's a lot of old school traditional people that do not like that. There's people that bleed red, right? There's people that are like, no, Republican through and through. It's like the Republicans are super messed up too.
Yeah.
Super messed up too. We need somebody. Obviously, the Republican side is still the side that is shooting the straightest, but there's still a whole lot that's crooked on their side as well.
Yeah.
We need people who are going to come in and not put the politics first.
Yeah.
Put the people first. Put the people and put the mission before the politics. And that's what I think Victor's doing. So hopefully he wins. I think that he can. I want to do everything and anything we can to help him win.
I go back to, if you go back to a church operates essentially off of pillars. And if you don't have pillars, you're not building your house on the rock, then you're building it on the sand, you're in a lot of trouble. You're never going to go anywhere, right? It astonishes me from the conservative side of things because most Christians, if you will, on the Republican side should understand that. They should understand pillars at a bare minimum. And right now what I'm hearing him say, what I'm watching him do, is he's laying out his pillars. He's laying out his foundation. Here's what we're going to come from. We'll get to all of the other stuff. And he's spoken into some of these other things. I've listened to it. But at the end of the day, that keeps being the question that keeps coming back. And somebody said to me, it was Saturday, they said, why do you think he's not talking about this stuff? And I said, he is talking about this stuff. You sit down and listen to what he's saying. You're going to hear exactly where we're headed. And he's like, well, I'm just hearing that he's going to be in the fight and he's got to win the fight, but he's not talking about the thing that he's winning. And I'm like, he's winning the governorship. All of the stuff that flows from that office comes from winning the fight to be in the role in the first place. So I go back to fighting days. I mean, I never entered a fight that I didn't think that I was capable of winning. Why would I go in there and get my teeth knocked in if I know that I'm going to go in there and get my teeth knocked in? I genuinely believe that the man thinks, feels, and is acting on that very thing. I'm going to win this fight. And if you don't, to your point, if you can't win, then all of the policy in the world means nothing. Now, do we need policy? Of course. But anybody that's ever spent 5 minutes down at one of these party meetings like you were at the other day and how dry it was and how boring it was and all, that's been going on for 50 years. That's exactly what I'm referring to. I said it at the beginning of this podcast. We have a baby boomer Gen X problem. And until that gets taken care of, and that's only going to happen internally. You're going to have to look at yourself. You're going to look in the mirror. You got to realize it's time to step back and repurpose myself for this fight. This is one man's not going to do it. And here's the living proof in Douglas County. I said this I put it in that response on the thread the other day. Is look what happened on the school board here in Douglas County. Mm-hmm. We are a red county. It's a foregone conclusion that they should have won, and they lost. And they didn't lose because they didn't have policy. They lose because nobody came out and voted. Nobody showed up. Yeah. So you've got 350,000 people in Douglas County. Look at how many people voted. You can pull it up right now on the Douglas County Clerk website. It's shameful is what it is. And then everybody's griping. I can't believe this. I can believe it. And it ticks me off. And I think it ticks Victor Marx off too. I think he's sick and tired. And he's like, hey, this is why we got to unify. This is why we got to bring people together. We got to put aside these silly little siloed differences that have been sitting out here for decades. And we have to understand we're in a different world, different time, a different culture. Everybody's seeing things in real time. The conservative base is like, hey, I still want to have this opinion over here of where I've grown up, but I want it right now like everybody else does. Well, then show up into the fight. Get into it. You're never going to do it the old way that it used to be done. You can't do it anymore that way. That ship sailed a long time ago.
Yeah. No doubt, man. It's definitely this exhausting process, but at the same time we got to not only, I think, energize independents, we got to energize even just people who are of the Republican Party to show up and vote. Because I don't even think the majority of people that claim that they're of the party show up and vote for a lot of these things. You know, we got to energize everybody as a whole to, hey, we got to get in the fight, because to your point, there's so many people that are not even in the fight. And if we get in this thing, I really do think, just like Victor thinks he can win, I think he can win. And I think that we can all do our part to make that happen. And if we do it, I think Colorado could look a whole lot better a couple years from now. You know, there's a lot of things that right now they're in the pipeline that we're heading right now to August. We're going to have some of the most severe. In fact, I think that it is the strictest, most unconstitutional gun laws in the nation in August here in Colorado. Am I wrong? No, I think it's the worst. I'm pretty sure it's the worst.
No, you're not wrong. It is. I'm pulling up Douglas County real quick because I want to read off the votes for all the people listening here in Douglas County.
My understanding is that they have banned, and it will go into effect in August of 2026.
It is. Yep.
It's 2026, right?
Yep.
In August of 2026, no detachable magazines in any of the firearms that are for sale.
Yep.
That is majority of firearms. In fact, here's the thing. It's cool that we're talking about this because I brought my 308 Bergara right here. This is a hunting rifle I just now used in Texas. Right after JWI-4, we went to Texas for whitetail hunt. It was cool. I was able to shoot a doe, a buck, a hog, and a turkey all within a couple of days. But I took this Bergara. I just bought this Bergara from Brian, and he was just selling it, and he had it for sale at DCF, and so I just decided to buy it from him. I needed a 308 bolt anyways. The only bolt I had before this was a 243, just from my youth. And I haven't hunted with the rifle since I was a kid. I switched to bow, and I've stayed with bow. So I've never even until this past week shot any big game with the rifle. But I bought this rifle from him. This is just a nice hunting rifle. That's what this is. But it takes a detachable magazine.
Yeah.
So this bolt-action gun, this gun in front of us right here, this hunting rifle, you can't even buy this hunting rifle as the law is written and as it's supposed to go into effect in August of 2026 here in Colorado. I mean, imagine that. That is just, that's horrible.
So we are headed towards, and this is, I'm going to say, you know, I used the example for the school board a second ago, and I go down the rabbit trail of getting pretty cynical pretty quick with my fellow Coloradans and whatnot. And I try not to be, but I think at this point in time, it's time to take the gloves off. We are, so my birthday is August 8th. I get to celebrate for the first time in my life. This is the perspective I put it in. I get to celebrate my birthday in a state where the Second Amendment no longer is valued in any way, shape, or form. And it was passed into law by people that are surrounded by private security who are armed to protect. I mean, it's fascist. It is unethical. It goes against everything that our forefathers stood for. And if you don't think that they're coming for your First Amendment, then you've not been paying attention to the news as of late. As far as rulings that they're starting to talk about in D.C. on social media and what they're going to govern. But the deal here in Colorado is scary because it's literally going to touch 95% of the guns. 95%. So that gun sitting right there is really, how different is that from a 1940s bolt action?
Mm-hmm.
It's not. And it seemed to work fine for us in World War II. And yet it doesn't work in Colorado all of a sudden. So even if you're just a hunter, even if you just want to hunt,
yeah,
all I want to do is go hunt. Never mind protecting myself, my family. I mean, let's get into the Bondi Beach thing here in a minute in Australia, right? Let's see how that worked out for them. And then the first thing they said, by the way, we need more gun laws. First thing. This is the very first thing out of them.
Man.
So, yeah, it's pretty scary when you stop and think about it, that you're looking at a bolt-action rifle that has literally been around since the dawn of guns, for all intent and purpose. And now all of a sudden, somebody knows better up on the hill. I mean, if we're not, I hate to say it, if we're not headed towards tyranny at some point, I don't know what else is going to drive us there. But after watching that attack on that beach, everybody's hailing that man as a hero, and rightfully so. And we can get into that. Yeah. But that was one guy that was willing to stand in the fight. Well, right now we need millions to stand in the fight here in Colorado.
Yeah, we do. And hopefully over the next 11 months, we can get some people excited to actually do their part. You know, we've got 5 months for the primaries, 11 months until the election. Let me just pull this rifle and just show everybody how harmless this is, so to speak. This is a classic bolt action hunting rifle. I mean, yeah, you could use it to shoot precision competitions. Bergara makes a really good rifle for what it is and for the price that it is. From my understanding, this is like one of the only rifles you can get at its price point that comes from the factory sub MOA. So it's kind of cool in that regard. But thankfully, bought it from Brian. Brian already had a scope that he was able to loan me while I was shopping for my own. I just picked up my own yesterday. But we were able to take this out. First blood this past week.
Yeah, and you went 3 for 3, awesome. Right?
So it was unfortunate, but when we got there, I did not have this zeroed in. With JWI and all that, I didn't have time to go get this zeroed in. So whenever we pulled up the day of, we went to sight it in, I was pretty off. I wasn't comfortable. I didn't want to take any shot with it till I knew I had it dialed in. So I went with one of my buddy's guns there, Kerry. He let me borrow one of his rifles, and I used that to shoot my doe, my buck, and my turkey.
Okay.
But then I had time right after that, sight this guy in, got it lasered in, and so my first blood with this was actually that hog that I shot.
That was a big one, by the way.
So it was super cool to be able to use this, and they were super happy to have that hog off their hands because that one had been terrorizing that stand for a while. That was what it sounded like.
Yeah.
It was a big boar.
Yeah.
A big boar. But it was cool, you know. I've never hunted that way before. I've never hunted from a stand just in front of a feeder. That's the way they do it in Texas.
Yeah,
and that's cool. And I was excited to have the invitation. You know, that guy has been coming and hunting with me for years. He's been coming to hunt elk here in Colorado for years. And he's a good family friend. And he actually had just come a couple weeks ago and shot a mule deer here in Colorado. We helped him with that. And then he's been inviting us to go down there and hunt with him for a long time. And we finally were able to make it happen. So it was fun, man. And it's came back with 250 quart coolers full of meat. And we just had a men's breakfast yesterday, a wild game breakfast with deer, venison. We had venison, biscuits, and gravy. And I had another guy bring bacon-wrapped crane. Had another guy bring pork belly burnt ends. It was just a whole spread. We had 2 tables full of stuff, and it was pretty much all wiped out. That's why I hunt, right? And that's why I want to own one of these in the first place. Even though, listen, most of my hunting before this done with a bow and arrow and a shotgun. I haven't shot anything with a rifle except for a coyote whenever I was like, I don't know, 12. But that's the reason that I want to own something like this. Now, is it also supposed to be my right? And is it actually better off for all of us to be able to have the right to own these? Absolutely. You look up into the stats, an armed society is a polite society. It'd be better for us all that have the legal right to have guns and bear arms, to have them and know how to use them safely and responsibly than for none of us to have them. Because if none of us has them, someone's still going to have them. And that's the problem. That's the problem.
That's the silliest argument on the face of the planet.
But man, it was cool to be able to hunt. And if anybody listening out there's never hunted, I challenge you, go hunt something. Mm-hmm. Put some meat on your table, eat it. I bet you that I'm willing to tell you that I have experienced it myself. Even store-bought beef, if I eat a good helping of it, a good serving of it, I don't feel very good. But if I can stuff my face full of elk meat and deer meat, and I feel awesome.
Yeah.
There's a difference in that meat that you put on the table, and it's sourced through those channels rather than a lot of the meat that they're feeding us from these commercial plants that you don't know what all's in that meat. You don't know what all's in what they're trying to feed us, and they're just trying to profit off of us. Don't want to go down the rabbit hole and get into too many conspiracies here, but I will tell you, I've tasted it and I have experienced the difference myself. Whenever you actually get the meat yourself, and that's the meat that you eat, you can genuinely feel the difference. You feel healthier.
Dude, there's guys applauding you right now out there online. I can see Yoster's in Coeur d'Alene right now, and he is literally out of his chair, both arms up in the air, cheering. Yeah, I got back from South Africa. What's it been, a couple months now? And the first thing people said, so what's South Africa like? Best food ever. First thing out of my mouth, best food I've ever had. They're like, what? Yeah. In South Africa? Yeah. I mean, you're sitting there watching it walk by, then they shoot it, and then they cook it that night.
Mm-hmm.
And it's as natural as it could possibly be because everything's wild out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I had ostrich 4 times while I was there. I could live off of ostrich in South Africa. I mean, there's just everything we ate, though, was like that. And so you feel like you're eating a 5-star meal. I mean, you are from the standpoint of the freshness, but it was just incredible. And here's the crazy thing. So my wife's family went. It was 9 essentially that came from different states, met us there. And in that, this I love sharing that. This is, I'm only going to go down this rabbit trail for a second. I've got an uber liberal niece. Love her to death. I really do. Genuinely love her to death. But she is as hardcore. She is all in on that side. She's over there and she's eating. She's like, this is the most amazing food I've ever had in my life. And it's funny because the guy's like, yeah, we just killed that like an hour ago. And she's like, okay. And then he looks at me and he goes, every meal you've eaten here has been that way. And she's like, what? It's just not knowing, right?
Yeah.
And then you realize, wow, this actually is pretty incredible. And so, yeah, to the point that you made, it is different. Everybody out there that hunts knows that. Anybody that has ever quartered their own anything knows that. But yeah, it's about to be stripped from us if we're not careful. And we're about to go the way of Australia. And that was a hard video to watch.
Yeah, man. Definitely prayers out to all those affected by the atrocity that happened with that shooting. It's amazing that we have as much footage as we do of that event.
It was a lot.
Yeah, there are so many videos. And, I mean, it's horrifying on one level to watch, and on a whole nother level from kind of the standpoint of a lot of what we talk about on the podcast is you can watch a lot of these videos and you can see the brutality that we exist in, the evil that's in the world. But you can also, hopefully, a lot of us can be able to take note of some things, to be able to maybe be a little more prepared should we find ourselves in a situation in any way, shape, or form similar to what happened there. Well, the video, I'm going to pull it up in a second. And first, we want to say that the guy, there was several things that happened. There was multiple shooters. But there's one guy in specific that was brave and courageous, and he ran up to one of the shooters and stripped that gun.
Yeah.
And it was really cool strip. It looked very, very well thought out and intentional. And the way he took the gun, and we'll get into it in a second, we'll talk about it. But we want to just give credit to that guy. What a hero to step up to the plate and do something.
Yeah.
Not just pull a phone out and start videoing, but to actually do something to try to stop this evil in its tracks and say no more. Not on my watch. Not if I have anything to do about it. Not as long as I've got breath in my lungs. I'm going to do something.
Here am I, send me.
Amen. So hats off to that guy. That guy, he deserves all the credit in the world. Super, super happy to see that somebody stepped up. Hate to see that any of it happened in the first place, but happy to see that there was somebody who stepped up and tried to stop it, you know. So we'll get into that video. I'll pull that up.
People don't, I'd say people just don't realize, maybe it's because I've been training for so long. You've been doing this for a long time. You don't go from white belt to blue belt to purple belt without a lot of time on the mat. But anybody can step into the fray inside of 2 seconds and enter a fight to try to shut something down, and that's what this man did, and he's a hero on every level. And on top of, not only did he step into the fight, then he got shot by the other terrorist, and he's alive, thank goodness. He's doing interviews from his hospital bed right now, but he got lit up. And these things, anytime somebody says to me, I was doing a consult at a church here recently, And look, man, I've decided personally on our business end just to change modus operandi on how we go about it. I'm going to do it the way I do it in self-defense. When I come out to consult a church, I'm no longer walking in without sitting down with the head elders and the staff in the church and saying, look, you got 3 seconds. You got 3 seconds. Make up your mind what you're going to do. Because that's about all the time you have. And the tail never should wag the dog, in my opinion. It should always be Christ-centered. It should always be we're a church. It should always be we're here to worship and serve. But we've got to realize that evil is unprecedented. It's at our doorstep, and it only takes a few seconds. And the thing is we've got to be right 100% of the time in law enforcement. The bad guys only have to be right once, and they only have to be right in the second or 2 or 3, and that's how quick it unfolds. We teach this in the women's self-defense class. We're changing the name and the title on that even to women's survival self-defense, because at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. So we're rebranding a couple things for 2026, but the reason I bring that up very much is in the heels of what happened in Australia. It's just a constant reminder of what we're up against. I stood here and watched. We talked about it on an episode. It was in Dearborn. They were chanting "Death to America." Sharia law is coming. We're bringing it to every doorstep in America. This was from Dearborn, Michigan. This was from New York. There were girls, 25-year-old girls, holding up signs going, "I can't wait for Sharia law." Yeah, okay, sure you can't, because you have no idea what you're talking about. That's the most ignorant thing I think I've ever seen in my life, because you're going to be cut up and macheted and shot and destroyed and raped. And we got to stop sugarcoating this stuff. We got to start using the language that actually applies, because that's the language they're using, and they're saying they're going to come. People, they're reluctant to offend, and I think that's what it comes down to, is I don't want to offend anybody. Look, I don't want to offend anybody either. I don't want to sit here and bash on somebody. That's not what this is about. That'd be easy to do. I could sit here and pick any one of 100 targets right now and go and bash. That is just so dumb. It serves no purpose, but we got to call it the truth in it. We got to call it the fact in it. And at the end of the day, if you can't call it out, you don't know what to do, then just watch this video, because this is the reality of what's coming. And it's here. It's in our country right now. It's not coming. I think people think it's like over in Afghanistan or Yemen. It's not. It's here right now.
Yeah.
It's in Australia. It's in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere. It's intentional. They read one book only. They've been reading it for 7 centuries, and they're coming.
Yeah.
And they're making a point of telling you that they're coming. They're doing overthrows in countries. There's places in UK when we were there 3 years ago. There's like, you literally are in the UK, and there are areas you drive up to that says, do not enter this area. This is literally a Muslim-controlled Sharia law. It's not an encampment anymore. It's a city. They've just come in and just taken it over and just pushed law-abiding citizens out.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing in Dearborn right now. When I was a kid, there was hundreds of thousands. Now there's like 5-point-something million. Are they all there to wipe people out? Well, they keep coming back and saying, well, no, they're peaceful. No, they're not. Not if they're standing in the street saying we're bringing jihad to your front doorsteps.
Yeah, that's not.
It's astonishing.
It doesn't sound peaceful.
It's astonishing.
All right. Well,
and people want to know why I want a fighter in the office for governor, as opposed to a guy running around. Oh my gosh, I could go off all day watching Jared pull his videos. It's so disturbing.
All right. Well, here we have this video pulled up. This is going to have some footage of this guy in the
distressing
hospital,
content.
Distressing content.
Or truthful. There might be another way to rewrite distressing. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So you can hear his devotion.
Oh, yeah.
To his religion.
Mm-hmm. Here's the video. He approaches. You see there's the strip. Let's rewind that.
I love how they've blurred out the gun. That might be offensive to somebody.
That's unbelievable.
It's so stupid.
All right, so watch this. This guy runs from behind. Notice that angle?
Yep.
Takes the guy.
And he's a big boy, by the way.
Yeah, this is a big guy. But he goes behind and then immediately gun on one hand, and then the other hand, he's on the guy's head.
Yep.
All right, and then he's starting to struggle for the gun, and then
gets two hands on it.
Yep.
Oh, this is from the New York Post. No wonder they blurred out the gun. We don't want to show the picture of the gun.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
So we were talking right before the podcast. We were speculating whether or not he knew how to operate the gun, or if maybe he just didn't want to kill somebody.
Yeah.
I've not seen anything to be able to ascertain whether or not either one of those things were true. But if you watch him, did you notice he sets the gun down?
Yeah.
That is the only thing that makes me think that maybe, just maybe, he doesn't know how to function the weapon, or he just doesn't like having the weapon in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the other guy come over and throw the rock at him?
Yeah.
It's like an 80-year-old guy comes over and throws a rock at him. This is the other shooter, and he comes up and lets him have it.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find another video here.
Can't believe they blur out the guns. Only the New York Post would do that. Hey, by the way, people in New York, the guy you just voted in, was it Mandami, something like that? That's what you just voted in right there. That's the guy who's going to support that.
Man, well,
it's so unbelievable. I'll tell you, I got so much out of that video watching, because I want to talk about the guy, the hero, but just seeing them blur out the video just annoys me. There is not a video game that you can't go buy right now from Walmart. Grand Theft Auto 5, the greatest selling video game of all time. When it first came out, it outsold, I don't know if you know this or not, there's a little stat. I had to research it. Somebody told me this once. I'm like, no way. That video game has outsold every genre of music combined to date.
Wow.
That game. They don't hide guns in that game.
Here we go. Here's a better video. Let me switch the angle.
Oh.
NBC didn't blur it.
NBC didn't blur it. Yeah, it's a shotgun. That's brilliant.
Is it him that runs and starts throwing a rock, or is this a different guy?
No, it's a different guy. There's a different guy that comes in from an angle.
It looks like he wanted to put the gun down, and he was kind of raising his hands like maybe there was already law enforcement on scene.
Yeah, see, this is an older guy. He's got his hat on.
Yeah, got a hat.
Yeah. Can you pull up, in a minute, let's pull up the video of the Brown University. If we can find them in their classroom.
Okay.
The episode. Let me just start that over. The assassination that took place and the shootings there. There's a video of kids and a teacher in a classroom, sitting in a classroom.
That one?
Could be. What I'm getting at, and hopefully this is the right video, we'll see what loads. But the one I watched over the weekend is they're all essentially sitting on the floor, and there's banging on the outside of the door, and they're all looking at each other, and nobody's moving, nobody's doing anything, nobody in this classroom. And it ends up being law enforcement that enters the room. But had it been the shooter, everybody was sitting there catatonic, paralyzed. And there was probably 30 people in this classroom. Nobody prepped, nobody moving, nobody doing anything. And it just goes to show the state of mind that people can go into when these events start unfolding. But if lead is flying downrange, man, you got to put a battle plan into place instantaneously on what you're going to be doing. And you got to start coordinating with other people of how you're going to react. And you're going to be jumping and attacking that shooter coming through the door. And if we don't find it, that's fine. But the whole point is everybody's just sitting in this thing, just not moving. It was astonishing to watch, and they were all shaking and they were all scared, and half of them were on the phones talking to their parents.
This is it right
yeah.
here.
And so they're just sitting here. Nobody's doing anything. The door isn't barricaded. Nobody has a weapon in their hand. Nobody's picking up a chair. And I've probably watched this 4 or 5 times, and the cops come in, and everybody then raises their hands. But they're all just sitting behind, desks essentially, or file cabinets, just waiting to get shot. I cannot stress to people enough what we train, what we teach is the counter to this very thing.
Yeah,
we are not teaching people to be Navy SEALs or Army Rangers. We're teaching you to use your common sense. That's very much what Victor is talking about in this race. It's you want to write a policy on that? There's plenty of policies. I'll guarantee you there's active shooter policies at Brown University, and nobody's ever learned them. But who cares about the policy? Are you in the fight or are you not in the fight?
Yeah.
You going to win this battle? You got 3 seconds to make up your mind. Cho at Virginia Tech, that's how he executed, was it 32 or 33 people? He didn't walk in with a 9mm and just open up firing. He just put everybody in a line, started asking them a question. If you didn't answer the question right, he shot you in the head. I mean, if you're number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 going down the line and you're watching this happen and you're not moving and you think he's going to change his mind by the time he gets to you, there's something categorically off in that way of thinking. And that's how we are right now. We've succumbed to that in this country, to where we just don't move. And it's not just in the moment when these tragic events unfold. It's what's also coming. And that's why it's so easy for me to get behind a guy like Victor Marx. He's been in the fight. Jared Polis hasn't fought anything a day in his life. He's a rich daddy's kid who's been given a lot of money, and he bought his way into a place. And he's listened to a bunch of lobbyists that have come in and said, here's what we want to do to control the state. End of story. It's like that's their battle plan. And it worked. And why did it work? Because there's a lot of people whispering in his ear, here's what you need to do to keep the votes going, to keep the Democrats, in office, that are just going to destroy this state and this country. And we've seen it happen. And we're getting ready to watch it again here in Douglas County. And the reason I get internally amped up over it is because I sit around and I'm thinking, Victor said it. I bet I've heard him say it a dozen times. Common sense. And the gal that stood up in the meeting, the breakfast that we were at, and asked the question, what are your 5 top policies? Well, common sense. If that doesn't work, how about common sense? Like we've sooner or later, we've got to strip away the silliness, and we just got to get down to action. And I don't know another way to say it. You're either in the fight. So like in that room right there, because I counted, there's 2 different videos. So there's that one and there's another one. And in one room, there was over 30 people, nobody moving, nobody doing anything. Like, what do you think is going to happen? How do we talk about that? How do we engage in a process? Because you're always going to have people that are going to live how they're going to live. You're going to have people that are going to be scared to do things. You're going to have people that are going to jump right into the fight. But how do you get people to wake up to see what's coming, what's happening? How do you get voters to unite? How do you get independents to come on to a ticket? Either you believe in the fight or you don't believe in the fight. But if you think that this is going to change anything by not going to the voting booth, look what happened in Douglas County. I can only say it so many times. We now have a liberal school board in Douglas County in a red county. And I sat in a room full of people just complaining about this, but they have no solution. So at least we have a man stepping up right now who's willing to say, wait a second, I can win this fight, but we got to unite.
Yeah. And well, we got a lot of work to do. And I do think that if we can energize enough people, we can win this thing.
Yeah.
We can win this thing. I think Victor's the man to do it. I think we still have to be the people who get behind him. And hopefully we do our part. Hopefully we do our part here on our show at the Rock Jiu-Jitsu team, at Oodle Lolly Coffee, with JWI, with every platform that we have, to encourage people, motivate people. Hey, we got to get in this fight. If we don't win this, there's so many similarities to this as the last election for presidency in America. I think so many people, man, if we don't win this one, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely what it feels like here in Colorado.
It does.
If we don't win this one, where are we heading to? If we can't get Victor Marx in office, Colorado's going to very quickly become, in the next couple of years, a place that is very hard to live in. If you have any moral compass, it's going to be a hard place to live.
I'm moving to South Africa. I'm telling you right now. I am going for the food, for the 11 cents on a dollar, for the people, the culture. Look, I probably would, but all joking aside, you hit on something that's very, very important just now. This could be it.
Yeah.
America's 250 years old, by the way, this year.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest celebration ever. We need to be united, man. It's very hard. I'll be honest with you. It's very hard for me not to look at this emotionally, but at the exact same time, I go back to something we talked about earlier in the podcast. What are we called to do? We are called to follow Jesus, disciple. protect our families, raise our kids, raise our grandkids. And then everything else comes after that. So if Victor's aligned with that, which clearly he is, and if I'm aligned with it, and you are, and others, and that message starts getting out, and it gets out strong, is that a victory in and of itself? Does it bring people through discipleship to Jesus Christ? I sure believe so. I hope so. But if you unite everybody, that message then carries on for the next at least 4 years.
Yeah.
So it can't just be the campaign trail fight. It's got to be for the future as well.
Mm-hmm.
The pillar doesn't change, but the fight has to change. And I think we've seen, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm 57, but I've seen this before, Jared. I've seen it play out. And if we don't get rid of these silos that we have in this party, we're going to lose. And we're going to lose big. But this is bigger than politics. But we're going to lose the political front, for sure. We got to get rid of the silos, man. That breakfast we were at, there was a person in that room that has run at least for 5 different offices. And they are a boomer. They will tell you that that's the way to do it. And I don't think they've ever actually accomplished anything. And that is the mentality right there. We got to get away from that. The one thing that I enjoy so far from everything I've seen, I think it's only going to continue to get better, is the videos that he is putting out. He is showcasing his family, and he is showcasing the fight, and he is showcasing the mission every single video.
Yeah.
And there is a reason why that is being done. And I guarantee it's coming out of that war room he's got.
Well, I'll end my piece with just saying this. I haven't given up on Colorado. I'm here for a reason. Born and raised in Colorado. I love this state. I couldn't imagine myself living anywhere else. The only way that I would ever live anywhere else is if it was something that I knew God put on my heart, and I knew that that's what God was calling me to do. But that is not what's happened. That's not where I'm at right now. I know that I'm here for a reason, and I know that this is where God wants me to be. And I'm going to fight for Colorado in every way that I know how. And Lord willing, I'm going to learn new ways, new ways how to fight for Colorado. And I want to do everything I can to help the people in this state, regardless of who's in office. There's still truth to live by. No matter who's in office, no matter if there is wickedness in high places, we still have light, and we still have he who is greater. Greater is he who is in us than he that is in this world. So I'm encouraged by that today, and I would just encourage anybody else that's out there listening today that even whenever we're living in a world with so many imperfections and so much evil, there's good that can overcome that.
Oh, yeah.
Be that good that can overcome that.
Amen.
And we're going to fight for Colorado.
Yeah.
And Lord willing, Victor's going to win.
When he said his kids won't come back, that resonated pretty heavy with me. I'll be honest with you. You know, when they're from here and they're saying no, and his kids are in California, dude.
Yeah,
like, that's a statement of all statements right there. So we're all, we're called to flee evil. We're called to hate it, and I'm going to stand in the face of it. I'm going to fight it, but from a moral standpoint, Colorado is broken, and there's a lot of good people here, and I do hope that we wake up and we see that. I'm not hopeless by any measure, or I wouldn't be saying the things that I'm saying on this podcast right now. I want to see things turn around, but I don't put all my hope in politics. I really put my hope in Jesus Christ and my fellow man to step up and do what's right. And much like you, we're in this fight. We're in it together. But I'm not naive. I'm not going to live ignorantly. What is coming, what we just showcased there from Bondi Beach, that's a pretty serious representation that I think people think it's a one-off because it's not here. It's kind of like going back to 9/11 when you live on the other side of the United States. Well, it's terrible. 3,000 people died. A couple buildings went down. 6 months later, we're right back to business, and nobody's thinking about it. People don't realize that's connected. That's absolutely 100% connected to what you just watched in Bondi Beach. It's an ideology that is coming, and I think it's very, very important for people to understand the fight that we're up against is not a bunch of special forces going over and dealing with somebody. This is something that is indoctrinated. It is a belief system that is centuries old, and it is the only book they read, and it is something that is really, really important. And I guarantee you, with every fiber of my being, I believe that Victor's got that on his mind as well, as what's happening here abroad, around the world is also manifesting here, and we're starting to see it. So that fight that is coming, my belief is way more than just political, and it's way more than just policy. It's understanding that this stuff is real, and we can't succumb to fear. We can't just sit back and pretend it's not going to touch us. You got to know what to do. You got to step into it, and it starts with your faith first.
Amen.
So, all right, that's my 2 cents on it.
2 cents received.
2 cents received. Should I close this?
You are closing.
I are closing. All right. Well, Father God, we know how this thing ends. We know that you are bigger than all of this. It's so hard to not worry, and it's so hard to not stress, and at the exact same time, to dig down into the depths of us and just find the joy in what you bring, to know that we can stand in the face of evil, and that we're called to stand in the face of evil, and to do good and to love, and to know when to step up. And so my prayer, my hope is that as we have good people uniting right now, and we have a strong man and Victor Marx willing to lead this state, that we have a unification that gets behind him, and he's doing it the right way. He's doing it through you and through your word, and may we also do the same. Ask that you would bless over our families and watch over us through the course of this week. It's in your son's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Till next time.
Till next time.
I carry a gun 'cause this world's gone cold. A knife for the path when the stories unfold. But the one that leads me, come fire or trial, is the word in my hand with a leather-bound smile. It's the life that I live, not just something I say. That's a daily carry.